if you've ever been suspended by Facebook, that's going to count against you on a job application. Oh God.
That's as arbitrary as other shit.
Sure. All right, it should be popping up here in a moment. That's what she.
Did you see? Did you see that it's about a minute long thing where I put it up on my Facebook. The guy put the Seinfeld music behind Ted Cruz.
Doing the thing about Cancun?
No. He took like a minute or so of Cruz trying to do jokes right down at CPAC, and he just put the Seinfeld music like in between and underneath. And it's so idiotically great that it's
They were playing that back on one of the podcasts, and actually if you listen very closely, somebody does boo him. there's a boo when he's doing the hilarious Cancun humor. I just shared it, so it should be ready to go.
Let's see. Oh. Says it's live.
Live as hell. It says, we grew up in Beechwood together until you moved away like a jerk in 8th grade. What does that mean? I don't.
That is correct. He is absolutely.
He's spot on.
He's completely right. Okay.
And then he says you were bunkmates at Camp Roosevelt and you peed on that top bunk and it dripped down on him. Is that correct? I don't. Seems a little specific, if you ask me.
We're moving slow today.
That's Uncle Joe. He's moving kind of slow at the junction. I'm too old to get my own Petticoat Junction reference.
Okay, I think I got it. It's moving kind of slow, and I have a special appearance here by the spinning color wheel of death. I mean,
on your computer, which I would add is an Apple product, ladies and gentlemen. It is.
But this is so old, I can't even update the software anymore. It will not.
We're not even supporting whatever you got going. We're not supporting it anymore.
No, it says if you have, like the software program that you can download for iMacs, it says you have to have it bought after 2015 or 2016, something like that. So I'm stuck with what I have until until
it dies, until it goes away.
Yeah. All right. All right, we're all ready.
We're ready.
Okay. Welcome back. It is the Brad and Britt cast. We've been away for about 10 days while Britt mourned his grandmother who died. All the condolences go to you, Britt, and your family. Yeah. And
thank you. It was everybody. I'd like to thank everybody that sent some really nice messages. I was even telling Brad, I heard one from his old Camp Roosevelt buddies. So it was spent some time with my family.
Texas. James
Bradley.
Texas. Yeah, he was able to take some time out from looking for water and trying to buy batteries and figuring out which bar he was going to go get drunk at, because now, Texas is open for business.
That's what I hear. That's what I hear. Gregory Shake You Down Abbott decided to open everything back up. But I want to thank everybody for all the kind messages and all the support last week, spending time. And it was a real blessing to be with my family and stuff. And, I was very blessed. I lost my grandmother, and nobody loses their grandmother when they're in their 50s. I mean, I was very fortunate to have her all these years, and we were real lucky, and I'm real lucky to have you guys to have the nice messages and all the support and everything. So it's good to be back, and nothing has really happened since I left, and I guess that's going to be today's podcast. Thank you guys very much for joining. We don't know.
Can I just say something that you can take some solace in? She outlived Limbaugh.
Yeah, that's right. She did.
She did outlive Limbaugh. Well, it's a low bar. It's a low bar because
if he hadn't, she was able to stay off the Blue Boys. So I think that was one of the things that was very helpful to her for staying 95 and a half years old, 95 and a half years. So, that's a pretty good life. So yeah, she did outlive Limbaugh, and we still never figured out if he got his COVID vaccine or not, huh? They wasted a dose on that bastard. We never did get that, did we?
No, we don't know, but did you see there was a little thing? I guess his wife still makes appearances on the show, whatever they're still sending to all the affiliates with fill-in hosts that you've never heard of. Now, I mean, who knows?
I heard like 5 minutes of it yesterday, and it was some dude, and they were discussing the great nicknames like Little Dick Durbin and all the. That was what I heard yesterday.
Yeah. And so apparently his wife went on and said she wants to continue the great work, the great projects. And I know this one's near and dear to your heart, since it relates to something else that's in the news. Those children's books, those Rush Revere
books.
God. Limbaugh put those out about 20 years. Who the fuck knows who wrote them for him?
Who has any idea?
But apparently what it was is he was the hero of the story, kind of replacing Paul Revere.
Correct.
They placed him in historical contexts throughout the early part of the country, and they called it Rush Revere. And his wife says, "I want to continue on and continue that great work, because the children of America really have taken.
We have a couple of generations of people we need to indoctrinate. When you think January 6th was the end, we want the kids of today to be able to storm the Capitol and try to kill some people as well. I mean, you can't just.
I think we're all sad that Rush isn't here to straighten everyone out on the cancellation of Dr. Seuss, which is not a cancellation, and it's not that story, and they're lying about it, and it's all bullshit. And nothing is happening, and America is not a less free country, and you can still read the goddamn books, and you can still buy them anywhere you want. The family that controls the Seuss publishing rights and continues to probably make a lot of money off of it, they came to the conclusion it was time to stop publishing, what was it, 6 of the early books that were written in the 30s,
right,
of the 40s,
when America was great.
Some of the I got blown on Mulberry Street when I was 8, whatever that one is, the books like that.
And to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street is the actual name of the book.
Okay, all right.
I got blown on Mulberry Street.
I'm just thinking about my time living in Manhattan. Sorry.
Would not get blown in a car. Would not get blown in a bar. Would not get blown here or there.
But I want to come at this not from arguing with the demagogues and the culture war people who want to say, well, first they did a war on Christmas. Now they're doing a war on Dr. Seuss. What will the liberals do next? Politically correct. I grew up on it and I didn't become a racist. It's the same shit. That's
yet you did.
not the issue. That is not the issue. It is irrelevant that if you're my age and you were reading Dr. Seuss books or had them read to you in 1957,
right,
and you didn't grow up to be a racist because you saw those images, that therefore those images and those books should remain in the same form in perpetuity. Forever.
And
Nothing
if they don't, it means we've lost something of our national identity.
Exactly.
There's something and if I can't go into McDonald's and get a plastic straw, somehow a piece of our national identity has
absolutely
been...
Right. That's like with the Bloomberg soft drink thing from 10 years ago. Remember that?
That's exactly right. If I can't go and get a 64-ounce soft drink, by God, America's gone all to hell.
But I submit to parents of young kids right now, at this moment, I want you to think about what is in those books. And they're funny and kids like it. And
sure,
they probably wouldn't notice anything. They really wouldn't. It's very subliminal, obviously. He's not a racist, Dr. Seuss. He didn't draw those. We know that. That's not the question. But if you look at those books now, if you look at some of the drawings, if you look at the Chinese guy with the pointed hat and the chopsticks and the rice and the eyes that are drawn just as slits running
45-degree angles.
Exactly. And if you look at the one where black people are drawn practically as monkeys, okay,
right?
They just are. They just were. Okay. Do you want to show your kids that? Do you care? Do you want to have to explain to them if they ask you, why is that? You know, in the 30 years since Dr. Seuss has been dead, okay, there have been a lot of children's books and a lot that you don't have to try to explain your way out of if you feel you might ever have to. But remember, this was not the government. This was not a First Amendment issue. Joe Biden didn't tell the Seuss family to stop publishing those books. They made the decision themselves. You know what I call that? I call that the free market. I
sounds
call
like
that
the
family. And this, by the way, is not a new controversy, Britt. This has been around for years and years. And the answer is yes, we are in a different period of American history than we were 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 60 years ago.
And frankly, these are books that most people wouldn't give a shit about. These are like his lesser known works. You got the ones that you care about. It's Green Eggs and Ham and you got all of that shit. These are the ones that nobody has. I don't even think they were at your pediatrician's office. But now all of a sudden, again, it's the worst egregious ever. And it's the most egregious thing that's ever happened to America. And we lost our country and it's going all to hell.
Right. By the way, it would have been great. I wish they would have said we're not going to publish Green Eggs and Ham anymore because Ted Cruz ruined it when he read the book on the floor of the Senate during a filibuster. Okay,
he destroyed it.
I would have liked that. But now, from the other angle, I'll come at it from the other angle. God damn it, liberals, quit giving them this shit to talk about when the country is being attacked, when a coup is going on, when voting rights are being crushed right in front of our face.
Oh, that's huge.
When we have a president who is no longer the president, who denied the reality of the coronavirus. And then can we just switch topics? Can we glide right into this? Because there's nothing left to say about the whole Dr. Seuss because it's bullshit.
No, it's over.
We know it's bullshit.
We've wrung every bit of sweat we can out of that.
Right. But when I heard, I think it was Tuesday, maybe Monday, that it's true that Trump had gotten the goddamn coronavirus vaccine.
This has been pissing you off for 48 hours. This has been stuck in your craw
early
for 48
on.
Hours. Yeah.
He got it early on.
Sometime in January, they said. Yeah.
Right. Now he was in the hospital when in September or early October, something like that.
Right.
And the line that was being tossed around was and this made sense, that if someone had been sick and had been on other drugs, they would need to wait before they would get the vaccine. That just kind of sort of made sense. I get it. But now we learn that sometime early in January, who knows? Maybe he got it the morning of January 6th.
That's
Maybe
my fantasy. That is my fantasy
matter.
is that he either gets it before he goes and gets those people to go attack Mike Pence, or he comes back from the rally as he's sitting down and eating Doritos and watching the thing. He's getting the thing in his arm. That's my fantasy.
I mean, of course, it really doesn't matter. That's just for sideline grins. But the fact that he has been singularly responsible for more vaccine resistance, more vaccine skepticism, more, Bill Gates has a liquid injection that's called a vaccine, and he's going to control your life. The minute you get, he'll know where you are. That Donald Trump is responsible right now for, let's say, all those people who went to Dodger Stadium and tried to block a large vaccine clinic one day a few weeks ago. Remember that story? This is everything filters right back to what Trump did to this country psychologically, with people ready to follow him over the cliff, whether it's overthrowing the government, whether it's denying the reality of the vaccine, whether it's not wearing a mask, which of course gets us ultimately back down to Texas. We can go there in a second. But the fact that he did that, he had the injection himself when he wasn't making any kind of move to encourage people to really, every once in a while, you'll hear him, yeah, everybody should get the vaccine. Like he said it over the weekend once, I think, at CPAC, right? That's right. The equivalent. That's right. The equivalent of people saying, well, on January 6th, when he spoke at that rally before the riot, he did say to do it peacefully. They will pick out him saying that, and then everything else, nothing else matters. They will take him out of context to prove that his intentions were good, that he's had good. All right. So that all being said, I consider I swear to God, there should be a retroactive impeachment of him again for this. For if there's such a thing as political medical malpractice, he just invented it by being the number one hypocrite of all time for getting the goddamn shot and not acknowledging it. Okay, well, what the hell is that all about? Who were you proving something to? Do you think that your base of supporters, of voters, would think you are weak because you got the vaccine? What the thinking, the pathology behind that, Britt, is, I swear to God, it's off the charts.
It's sick.
It's off the charts.
And you remember all the times that they would make fun of Joe Biden last year when he was wearing a mask. They would, oh, he looks so stupid. Why is he wearing a mask? He looks like a huge pussy. They would do stuff like that all the time.
Do you remember that day? And we should probably look it up. It doesn't really matter what day it was, where the three ex-presidents, right? Bush and Clinton and Obama, they said they were going to get the shot, right?
Right.
They all said that. And it was assumed that Jimmy Carter was still ailing, but he obviously was going to get it too. And we said, I'm sure we said this, that just by that act, that Trump would either not get it or he would lie about it. He would pretend, because he can't be seen as one of the group. He has to be set apart.
It was December the story I'm seeing is December the 3rd.
Oh boy! Wow.
So it's exactly 3 months ago today. Exactly 3 months ago today. That's the story.
So he could have gotten it then. And by the way, when they got it, they were like a week or so behind the world, right? They could have gotten it, if you were a true VIP. I think they waited a week or so. And Trump, I believe, put out a statement I'm not going to get one ahead of everybody else because I don't want to look like I'm jumping the line. Like suddenly the guy whose entire life has been jumping the line, figuratively and literally, to get everything he ever wanted and trample over everyone on this issue where no one would have criticized him no one would have said, "Oh, the president of the United States should definitely not get it first." And we were showing the picture, and we referenced it. You've seen it since then, probably a million times, of Elvis getting the polio vaccine on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Well,
Shit. Now
that's the point.
We got Dolly Parton. They gave her a vaccine shot in her left tit yesterday. It was on TV. I saw it.
That's not what happened. No, that's not in a Dr. Seuss book either. No, that's not where they gave her the shot, Brad. You misunderstood. No, but the point of the thing is, well, you're seeing a lot of prominent public figures who are taking it, like when Joe Biden and Kamala Harris particularly Kamala Harris, she's doing it publicly to encourage people to get vaccinated. And for her, it's particularly because, among people of color, there's a lot of heavy suspicion about the medical community, and she wants to kind of alleviate that. So he couldn't be seen as giving the Iggy to people. Yeah, come and get the shot. He couldn't do that because, again, if you get the shot, you're, I guess, a weeping liberal. I don't understand, but that's what you would be left.
The vaccine is liberal. The vaccine is the latest liberal plot. Now, there's a column today in the New York Times opinion section by Michelle Cottle, and she says, half seriously but seriously, that again, and Donald Trump is too wrapped up in whatever is left of that brain of his to think that this is even possible. That if he decided right now, today, to be the #1 vaccine ambassador for America, to go around the country and have even rallies about the vaccine, to turn it into a cool thing for right-wingers and Trump supporters and resistors and people who will listen to him for everything. They'll take his advice on everything. They'll even storm the Capitol in his name to try to overthrow an election. That he could do, even at this late hour, more good than he did in 4 years as president. But it's kind of a lost cause idea here. He's not going to do it. He can't do it because for him, doing anything good when he didn't do it, when he had the chance to do it, is admitting he was wrong to have had that stance in the past. And
right.
Of course, we know that's rule one when you're Donald Trump. Never admit that you're wrong.
Because we're not getting a lot of hydroxychloroquine, are we? We're not getting a lot of that right now because I suppose there was just no way for him to figure out a way for him and his stupid ass kids to make money off of that situation. So you're not hearing him talk about hydroxychloroquine anymore, right?
Well, I don't know whether it's still a financial issue with it. By the way, they probably made whatever they were going to make already. It doesn't matter.
And then they got out.
Yeah. Believe me, Britt, he's moved on to other scams.
Clearly.
And other things. So
clearly but it's you're not hearing hydroxychloroquine. You're not hearing about pumping bleach into your lungs. You're not hearing any of that stuff. Like you said, he said, go get the shot. They don't cover that. It was right at the end of the stupid ass speech on Sunday, which was, again, 157 news cycles ago. So we don't really need to talk about it. Everybody's had a chance to turn all that around. But I'm just super glad that CNN and MSNBC decided they weren't going to cover it live. They didn't. I'm happy that happened. At least they don't give that guy that much because that's all that he wants is stupid ass attention. What the mistake that I made, and I said this last year when he was leaving office, it looked for like a half second, like Mitch McConnell and the Republicans were going to be like, we're going to try to distance ourselves a little bit from this guy. And at the end of the impeachment trial, Mitch McConnell gave the speech, which was counter to the vote that he threw down. I thought we were going to have to remind people of how the Republicans tied themselves to this man, made excuses for him, and empowered him and made it possible. I didn't realize that they were going to run headlong and throw themselves and bang him. I didn't realize that's what the Republican Party was going to do now. That's what they've done. They're not only not trying to separate themselves, they are fully embracing Donald Trump, right? There's no effort to try to separate from that guy.
No, they've made their inner peace with themselves, apparently, that this is the only way back to power in 2 years and in 4 years, that they are unwilling to do the right thing for the country and take the risk of losing the election, as if embracing Trumpism right now. Remember, it's going to be Trumpism without Trump. And Trumpism without Trump is not Trumpism at all. It's just nothing. Okay? Because remember, Trumpism is nothing. It's only the singular devotion to a person who is nothing and has no policies and has no point of view, really. He's just a transactional fraud who will do whatever it takes to win the next 5 minutes in the news cycle or get some attention. So now, just think of all the times over the last few weeks, just think about it, where even if you haven't thought of it, you say, wow, thank God he doesn't have Twitter. There are so.
Oh my God.
I'll give you an example. Last week was the Golden Globe Awards.
Yeah.
Award shows. Trump always would weigh in on award shows. Okay. Because he loved to jump on the right-wing culture war. Why can't they just give out awards like they used to instead of making political speech, right?
And God forbid, like a black person or a gay person or a black gay person wins something.
Diverse enough? All right. Okay.
Yeah, right.
So just think about, and this is not to say that that was a great show or that it was wonderfully produced. I mean, it was a train wreck, but so what? Big deal. But Sacha Baron Cohen won a couple of awards, and he had some great zingers against Rudy Giuliani. They were really funny. He's a funny guy. And I was thinking, thank God Trump isn't out there to be the critique in chief of these kinds of things. He really is getting smaller each day, even if he pops his head out like the groundhog now occasionally and makes a speech here or there. And you're right. You're totally right. I don't think very many people, no matter what the continuum was on how much fealty to Trump there would be after he left office, I don't think anybody, very few people were they'd go all in even more. Okay. That was not on the bingo card, right?
Well, because you remember when Bush left office, there was he was unpopular, and the economy was in the shitter and all that stuff. And there was a period of time where the Republican Party separated from him because, obviously he couldn't run for a third term, and Dick Cheney wasn't run for president.
Britt, they're still separate from George W. Bush.
Well, there you go.
That one hasn't changed.
There you go. There was a separation. There's no effort to, and then the big lie still continues on and on. They had panel discussion after panel discussion after panel discussion at that bullshit over the weekend about how the election was bullshit. It didn't count. We really won. Now, I did have a moment to go look at a biography. I was looking at the Wikipedia entry of Jefferson Davis. Jefferson Davis lived, I think, 24 years after the Civil War was over.
And by the way, he did prison time too.
He did some prison time. He was actually, they put him in prison and never got around to trying him. And after a couple of years, they said, all right, you're free to go. And he had trouble getting work. Who knew? There was no Newsmax for him to go to and be on, or the One American News Network for him to get a show. And congratulations, I understand Kayleigh McEnany apparently has a gig on Fox News. Who could have guessed? So he would perpetuate, after a period of time, some unity with the country, but he would always perpetuate the idea that the South didn't lose the war, the South was cheated out of the war. Yeah. That was a Jefferson Davis standby. Yeah. That was what the Nazis did after World War II. We didn't lose the war, we were cheated out of the war. And they continue, the Republicans do, to perpetuate the big lie.
Hang on, no, wait. I think you got your German intransigence off a little bit. It was World War I.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, that's right. We didn't actually lose. That's right.
Right. That they blamed the Jews and everybody else for losing World War I, and then Hitler rose to power on that. Now, after World War II, I get that there's still obviously Nazis around.
Clearly, clearly. So, they're going to perpetuate this idea.
It isn't a guiding force in the country. It doesn't move policy in Germany to this day. All right.
No, they've been able not to give those people political power. I mean, strangely enough,
I think the word denazification really does transfer to today here. And I know there is a full right wing pushback against the word deprogramming. They hate, we don't, yeah, we need to be deprogrammed. Yeah, right. Tell us who needs going to deprogram us. Right? They hate that. They hate that. Okay. So why don't we call it de-Trumpification? De-Trumpification. And we will know what that means. They will know what that means. And it doesn't have the same root or derivation as deprogramming, which is what happens when you rescue your cousin from Scientology or from the Nexium cult, whatever the hell that is, where the guy tattoos your dick or something, whatever that. What the hell was that? What the hell was that?
It feels like you've been watching that Woody Allen series on HBO. I don't know. Maybe that's
I haven't seen it yet.
It's the feel good hit of the summer, pal. It's going to make you. It's going to turn you right around on that guy. Wow,
that's what I hear.
No, they're going to perpetuate this big lie thing forever and ever. They never lost, and now, as you have pointed out earlier, the game is going around all of the different legislatures now. They are trying to pare back voting down. They only want. What was the one state that I saw, and I can't remember it? You will not be able to give food and water to people in line to vote. That was one of the restrictions on one of the states that I saw. You will not be able to give pizza or a sandwich or a Coke or a bottle of water to people who are in line to vote.
I know, that's Siberia.
No, it's happening here. It's happening. It was one of those states from last week. And how exactly does that protect the integrity of the vote? How has fraud been perpetuated by people eating and drinking in line?
On Wednesday afternoon, Mike Pence put up a column, just completely going with the big lie still, not mentioning Donald Trump, and saying that H.R. 1, which is the big voting rights bill that they want to pass in the U.S. House, that would really bring an umbrella and protect voting rights across this country in so many ways, and stop these states from doing what they are doing, which is they're not just turning back the clock, they're throwing the clock in the trash. Okay. They're going back, I swear, pre-Civil War, when there was no argument over whether black people could vote because they weren't even citizens, right?
Exactly.
And that's what's so degrading and disgraceful about the whole discussion, that we are talking about whatever remnants of a political party there is, whose very existence depends on, and they admit it time after time after time. It was admitted in the United States Supreme Court on Tuesday that the reason that they are doing these kinds of things is because if they don't, Republicans will have trouble winning elections.
Right. When people who are eligible to vote, Republicans lose.
Right.
That's what happens. And what they are trying to get down to is only on election day, in-person voting, period, end of story. That's what they want.
And we got past that barrier decades ago,
many years,
in most of the country.
That's right.
Most of the country. And because you're willing to follow the biggest liar and the biggest demagogue in the history of the country. Sorry, Joe McCarthy, silver medal, baby.
You tried. Hashtag you tried.
No, you had a good run, but trade in that gold. You have been lapped by Donald Trump lying about elections in this country. Remember, he lied about the 2016 election before it even happened. Absolutely. And then he lied about it even after he won on the technical rules that are embedded in the Constitution that allowed him to become president with 4 million fewer voters than the opponent. And he still lied about it then. So that's the hallmark of his political career, lying about elections. So here he is, no longer president.
Yeah.
And the people that you talked about before, the suck-ups the collaborators, we can't come up with a better idea, and we're afraid of all these voters. We're just chicken shit. We have no courage. We have nothing. We're zero, except for the seditious 17. The seditious 17 that Donald Trump named one by one over the weekend. You have the 10 members of the House, including Adam Kinzinger. And when Trump was reading off that list, he even had to get some racism in there. Every time he would read the name of a Black or Hispanic person, he paused or he put in a comment. And in particular, I remember this because he named Anthony Gonzalez, who's a congressman from Ohio.
Right.
Anthony Gonzalez is a Republican. He was a big star at Ohio State University in football. He played about 5 years in the NFL, got injured.
Yeah.
And when he got done, he decided to become a politician and ran for office, surprisingly as a Republican, but okay. And he did get elected in a gerrymandered district in Ohio. Most of them are. It's as bad as North Carolina. It might be worse.
I don't know
and
about worse.
He won. But to me, every time I've ever heard him speak, he really seems like a smart, reasonable guy. So Trump is reading off the list of all the people. He reads off the senators: Byrd, Toomey, Romney, Cassidy.
Like he's spitting them out.
He gets to the members of the House and he's reading them off, and he goes, Gonzalez. Oh, that's a beaut. What the fuck was that?
What does it mean?
What the fuck was that? What was that? And well, we know what it was. That's what he is. I mean, remember the discussions over the years with Trump when he would do something flagrantly racist? Well, he's not really a racist, but sometimes he says racist things. Remember that one?
I do remember that. Yeah, that was a good one.
Right. Or he can't be a racist because, Black people have worked for the Trump organization. Yeah. Where are they? I mean, he can't be anti-Semitic because his daughter converted to Judaism. So he has Jewish grandchildren. And by the way, every one of those comebacks was wrong. It was bullshit. He is all of those things. He is all of those things. And we've reached the point where, and I don't want to hear this anymore. America really needs two viable political parties. So I'm a Democrat. But I want a strong Republican Party. I want the party that I used to know. Really? I fucking hated the Republican Party 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Okay? They've been the same thing. And just because Donald Trump brought out the worst instincts of republicanism in the modern era, post 1964-65 Civil Rights Act, which is, how can we keep down the blacks? Okay?
Exactly.
And how can we keep them from voting?
Exactly.
and how can we do that? Just because Trump was willing to say all the things that policies have been directed at all these years, doesn't mean that they get a pass now by saying, well, if we could just get rid of Donald Trump, they could go back to being the grand old party. No, the grand old party sucked. It sucked. And you know what? Ronald Reagan's the godfather of a lot of this shit. He just is.
Whatever you thought was great about the grand old party, it ain't there. Whatever this is, I mean, this, like you said, this is beyond anything.
Hey, look, you fought civil rights. You fought Medicare.
Social Security.
You fought Social Security. You fought unemployment insurance.
Yeah.
You fought against laws that would protect children from child labor. So they have been on the wrong side of everything. Everything. Okay, we'll give them a pass on. They were pretty right about the Russians for the most part.
Yeah, we'll give them that.
In the post-war era. We'll give them that.
But then they started loving the Russians. The past 4 years, they loved some Russians over the past 4 years.
Right. You're right. So even if they were right when it was the Soviet Union, they've blown it since the Russians faked capitalism for 5 minutes with Boris Yeltsin And then
They love Putin. Putin was a strong leader.
Putin, right?
Putin's a strong leader. Putin
Boy,
put bounties on the
boy,
American military.
I'd love somebody to pull out those clips of Trump when he said those things.
It's a strong. He wasn't the only one who said it. There were tons of people on Fox News saying that he was a strong leader. They would say it over and over and over again. There's a montage of talking about what a strong leader. He's on horseback, with his bare chest and everything, and all this other horse shit. Yeah, when they hated the Soviet Union, but the guy who puts bounties on American soldiers, apparently they cozy up to that guy.
Well, now he sent the opposition leader, what's his name? Natalia
Navalny,
remember his last name. Yeah, they've sent him to Siberia.
Yeah,
for 2.5 years.
Right,
and he didn't do anything.
Right,
he didn't do anything except exist and oppose the leader. That's what Donald Trump would have liked to have done here.
Sure, he would have
to have sent people off to Siberia. So he can't do that and couldn't do that. So he's doing the next best thing. I will ruin your political career. Maybe him and Andrew Cuomo need to have a bit more of a chat. They may be more kindred souls,
simpatico,
the way they govern or treat people than
we've
ever known.
Do you have anything further you want to say about Cuomo, who, even as we've been speaking, has said he will not resign and he's never touched anyone inappropriately?
All right. Well, I'd say that he's got a better than 50-50 chance of surviving. He's got a better than 50-50 chance of surviving.
Is this one of those? But I don't know about. They're supposedly going to have an independent investigator look into these allegations and stuff like that.
I think that most of this stuff is really in the Al Franken.
That's arena. The problem. The ghost of Al Franken looms so large.
Well, but wait, but 2 minutes after Franken left, right? Yeah. The Democrats were all looking at each other saying, did we do the right thing?
What did we do?
Really the right thing?
Why are our standards so high?
Was this really, really worth it?
Yeah.
And, that was the moment, I believe, where the always believe the woman started to be said over, no matter what was charged by anybody ever. Because remember, the Franken thing happened, I think, even before Harvey Weinstein.
And it happened before Kavanaugh and all that stuff.
Right. It happened way before that. And, Andrew Cuomo he's just a nasty jerk. He's just a flat old nasty jerk. And I don't know what drives me crazy, just completely crazy. And you can't speak to this personally, neither can I. Because we've never been in supervisory positions over women.
Nobody gave me any power at all.
No, I've never had any employment power or anything even close to that. But you would think that by now, going back, my God, to Bill Clinton,
to
Wilbur Mills. I mean, I can name names of.
Well, let's just go back to 25 or 26 years to Bill Clinton. Let's just go there.
Just go to Bill Clinton and Bill Cosby and all these people who have been in positions of power, males, and have used it inappropriately and lost their careers and lost their reputations really forever in service to what? I don't know. I guess it's I can do this because I can get away with it. I'm sure that's got to be the common thread.
That was one of the Bill Clinton things he said about the affair with Monica Lewinsky is he did it just because he could. When he finally got down and he did some counseling and all that stuff. Yeah, there are a lot of guys that do stuff just because they can. There's no question about it. I'm not saying it's right. It's disgusting, and particularly in the context of today, when you said we've had all of these red flags over the years, and you still continue to be a douchebag, Governor Cuomo. I mean, that's very disappointing. But the problem is that, as you said with the Al Franken thing, the standard for the Democrats usually end up taking out their own trash most of the time. They really do.
I know that, but the answer just can't be. And I found a cartoon. I threw it up today, and it's Cuomo sitting at a desk, and the aide says to Cuomo, well, you're in trouble. You've been caught doing this. You lied about this. And you know, you got to do something. And Cuomo is looking at the guy and says, I guess I need to become a Republican. Okay. Well,
That's funny.
But it's funny, but that can't be the standard.
Yeah.
We've already dropped down, all of us, several notches
Yeah.
due to the last 5 years on a lot of things. And it just can't be. And I hasten to say that I doubt that Andrew Cuomo is going to ask for the Donald Trump grab him by the pussy, get out of jail free exemption card, where you get to do something.
Billy Bush online too.
Right. It should be career ending.
Yeah,
Right?
it should be
over, but you just power through it and move. That's not going to happen probably with anybody else. And by the way, there's nothing that Andrew Cuomo did that even comes close to, as we inhabit the world of whataboutism.
Oh yeah,
which you can't do it with Trump because everything is whataboutism with
There's
him.
nothing that's ever going to be as
he
bad.
Ever did was right.
Right. Nothing's ever going to be as bad. You can't do that.
But you would think, you would just think that a guy like Andrew Cuomo, who's a fairly intelligent person, pretty sharp,
you would think
that he would know better. And I always like to think, aren't guys like this capable of getting some legally without endangering their lives?
It would seem so.
Do you have to go up to people who work in your office when you're at somebody's wedding,
right,
and get right in their face
and grab their cheeks?
But what the fuck are you doing?
I don't know.
Just what the
well, there's intelligence and then there's emotional intelligence, and I don't think that I think that's where some of these guys are lacking. In conclusion, Brad, would you like to say a word or two about how your president Joe Biden is destroying this country with high gas prices?
No, it's not a discussion.
But it is being bantied about that all of this is Joe Biden's fault. He's driving gas prices up, and oh my God, this is a disaster. And America already has buyer's remorse on this man, just 6 weeks into his term.
There's nothing there. No, there's just nothing there. The price of oil is going up because of an economic recovery in the industrial sector of this country.
That's called demand.
And it's called demand.
That's called demand.
There's more demand. And no, Joe Biden didn't unplug all the oil wells and stop all the fracking on January 21st.
But he said he would. He said he was going to do that, Brad. Right. I remember when he said it. I remember Joe Biden said, we will stop drilling for oil in this country, and I will kill anybody that drills for oil. I can show you the
and I don't even want to start down the road of here we go again with what's the difference that much between someone paying $2.10 for a gallon of gas and $2.60 over time if they didn't used to have a job, but now they have a job. Exactly. That they used to not get a $2,000 check from the government, and now they got it.
But I remember specifically there was one point in time at the end of the Bush years in late 2008 and early 2009 when everything cratered. And that's when gas prices went down to nothing because people weren't going to work and they were getting laid off and stuff was not being put out to market. You remember that? During the Bush administration, there was a time when gas was pretty high. We got this was before social media even. We got all of these emails about, do you know that printer ink is $150,000 a gallon? Do you know that Listerine, if you remember that, do you remember that shit? Do you remember the excuses that people would do when there was a Republican in office and gas prices would go up?
Well, first of all, they're so low just in general.
Exactly.
In comparison. And again, just go look at the chart, like the 100-year chart, the 50-year chart, the 25-year chart of how much gasoline really, really costs. And, it wavers between, at least where we are, $2 and $3.
Adjusted for inflation is what you're talking about.
And if you want to play the adjusted for inflation game, it's very low. And cars get better mileage and more people are using electric cars. It's just not a real discussion. It is a complete made up out of whole cloth attempt to. And by the way, one of the old cliches, and I thought this one was true. I think somebody did the numbers on this and did the calculation that when gas prices are low and a president is running for re-election, they never lose. Well,
That's right.
guess what?
He
Donald Trump
lost.
lost.
He
In
sucked.
other words, people hated him enough in so many areas. Think of this. This was the coalition of the fed up. That's
Exactly.
what this was. This is
Exactly.
what the 80 million people were made up of. And they can run around all day long. What about the 74 million people that voted for Donald? They're going to say that over and over till we all die.
Exactly.
I understand.
Or they're
that.
going to lie and say that he didn't lose the election, which is what
Right.
some of them have done.
Exactly. So, yeah. Yeah. What about gas prices? They're so damn. Shut up.
So, but if you follow the logic, what Joe Biden has done is he wants the economy to look bad, so he will look bad, and therefore he has made gas prices go up, so he will not get reelected.
Exactly. Yes.
That's what's going on.
You have figured it out. Oh, great one. Oh, great one. All right. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, guys.